Hello, I'm Amelia and welcome once again to my channel. Today I'm going to be watching Kinnporsche episodes number 11 and 12. And yes, I'm finally back. It happened. I'm not going to lie, these past few weeks have been pretty difficult for me. They weren't great. I'm not going to go into it because honestly I just don't have the energy for it. But enough said that I had a pretty few bad weeks and I was very looking forward to doing this and to, going back to doing something that I like. So here I am. I'm feeling a lot better and I'm very happy to be here. I did want to thank you everybody who sent messages, who, posted comments and all of that. I was really touched. I really appreciate that. I haven't answered yet, but I am going to answer as soon as I finish recording this. But I don't know. I wanted to thank everybody who did. So anyway, let's talk about Kinnporsche. Also, you may notice that my voice is rough. The reason for that is that I'm actually recording in the morning. I woke up early to record this. And I don't know why. I just woke up and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I decided I may as well do this. So maybe I'll have time to, edit this video and still post it on a Friday. Let's hope, fingers crossed. But, this is my voice of I just woke up and I'm just not a morning person, but I'm also, I couldn't go back to sleep. So, here I am. Also had my fan on. I don't know if you can hear it. I think the last times I recorded with a fan on, you couldn't hear it, so hopefully you won't, but I definitely can, and it's definitely going to be bothering me. But it's that, or, dying of heat, I guess. No, I can turn on the air conditioning later, but it's too early. It's too early for the air conditioning, I feel. Anyway, now yes, let's talk about Kinnporsche. And you may have noticed that I'm doing 2 episodes instead of 1. I said that I was going to do 1 episode except the 2 last ones, but it turns out that I'm a liar, as usual. I am doing 2 episodes, but I had a very good reason for this. It's because the following week, so not next week, the following week, I'm going on holiday with my friends. And the truth is, I'm not sure what's the internet situation going to be. Apparently, there is an internet connection, but honestly, we're going to a place that is pretty far away from everything. It's pretty isolated. So whenever we go to a place like this, they say they have internet connections. Sometimes what they mean is that you have to, climb a hill or something to get some signal. So I'm not going to trust this internet connection thing. So that means that I'm going to be, disconnected from everything for at least 10 days, which is great for my mental health, I'm not going to lie, but at the same time, it would mean that if I follow my schedule with the uploads of the videos, it would mean that the ending of Kinnporsche would happen during those weeks. And it wouldn't be a problem because I could record it earlier and then upload it, and, set it to, I guess, post itself during that time. That is fine. That is what I'm going to do with the other things that I watch. But the thing is, it's the ending of Kinnporsche, and I don't know if I cannot have an internet connection. I won't be able to read the comments. I won't be able to interact and anything. So I was thinking, that's going to be a pity. With Guardian and Advanced Bravely, I feel it doesn't matter as much because I'm going to be honest, I don't have the same kind of interaction with the people who watched it, if anybody does, to be honest. But with Kinnporsche, there is a lot of interaction, there is a lot of debates, and also, people tell me, oh, you missed this or something like that. I don't know, I didn't want to, skip that. So I decided that I was going to try to upload, or I'm trying to do the ending of Kinnporsche before I go on a holiday with enough time in the middle, so I can answer comments and all of that. So for that to happen, I had to watch 2 episodes today because otherwise that wouldn't be possible. So that's why I'm watching 2 episodes of Kinnporsche today. So that means that next week we are ending with Kinnporsche. It's over. I can't believe this show it's over already. I feel like it was a very long time since I started because it feels like, obviously I started last year. That was clear, but I don't know, it feels like I started a long time ago, but also that it went very fast. All of these shows that have 14 episodes, especially comparing to the other shows that I'm watching that have like 30 or 40. It is a difference. But I guess at least with this one, there is a possibility of a second season. So I guess shorter seasons are fine. As opposed to the other shows that I'm watching that are Chinese, that they only have one season and that's it. So, hopefully there's going to be a second season because I think 14 episodes are not enough. So that's why we're doing 2 episodes. That's why also good that I'm recording early, because if I'm doing 2 episodes, this video is going to be like 2 hours and something, and it's going to be a nightmare to edit. Anyway, let's talk about what happened in the previous episodes. Now, I actually made a list because I thought I'm going to rewatch the episodes. But then I thought, if you rewatch the episodes, you may be tempted to continue watching the last episodes on your own without recording it. So I said, well, no, maybe. Let's see how much I remember. It turns out that I actually remember quite a bit. So I made a list of all of the things that I remember in chronological order. So let's see if I remember anything. This is a very long list. I am looking at it now. Last night when I did this, I didn't notice how long this list was, but okay. Well, I guess there was a lot of things happening in the last 2 episodes. So let's talk about the main thing of episode 9. I didn't separate the episodes. That was too much. I think I did see episodes 9 and 10 together. So they just mix in my memory as one long episode. I don't remember what happened in one or the other. So there's no distinction. Anyway, the first thing that happened is that Tawan is back. He's back. He wants protection. He wants protection in exchange for information. Apparently, he has information about the Italians. The excuse that he gives that he was not actually dead is that he was captured by the Italians or something like that. The Italians were threatening him to, betray Kinn for the information that he gave him. So supposedly he did that to protect his family, not because he wanted to betray Kinn. And now he's back. He escaped from the Italians, and now he's willing to give the information in exchange for being protected. I guess fuck his family now. I guess his family is all dead, so we don't care about them now. Anyway, Tankun, who is on fire in these episodes, he says maybe we should shoot him in the head. The person who agrees to this is surprisingly Big. And I'm going to say now, I feel like I did Big a disservice. I feel like I didn't appreciate it in time because honestly, he was on point in this episode. He did agree. He said, I was there when Tawan came the first time. He was a piece of shit. Let's just shoot him. But they don't shoot him. And, they let him leave, said, fine, here you have a room or something. So, the thing about Tawan is that he seems to want to get Kinn back. So it's not just information here. He wants to, I guess maybe because he thinks that will give him an advantage, but he's trying to get Kinn back. The problem with that is that there is a little person called Porsche there in the middle saying, yeah, no, maybe this is not happening. But one of the most hilarious things that happened in this episode, not the most, because I think you know which is the most hilarious thing that happened in this episode. But this is a running contestant. I would say the second most hilarious thing that happened in this episode is the fact that Tawan shirts, they get increasingly smaller. Like, he gets normal shirts and he cut them, but he starts by just cutting the sleeve, and then he cuts more of the sleeve, and then he's cutting like half of the shirt. So his shirts just get progressively less shirt-like as the episode goes, and honestly, it's one of the most hilarious things. Well, yeah, it is one of the most hilarious things that happened in the episode. The guy's trying. It's not working. Well, there is a spark there, but it's not working that much. Anyway, Porsche is worried about this because he's worried that he's losing Kinn's attention or something. So there is a whole thing about him going to Yok to ask for advice, and then him deciding that he's going to pretend to be sick to get Kinn. I mean, it works, which shows how much these guys belong to each other, because it was honestly one of the weirdest things that I've ever seen. But it worked on Kinn, so I'm happy for them. Anyway, the other thing that Porsche does is planting bugs onto one room so he can hear what's happening. In the middle of this, at some point, we also see Pete finding out that maybe there is something going on between Pete and Porsche, and this happens because Arm, who is the other person who's using a brain cell in this episode, tells him, like, well, no, there's something happening between these two. And he's like, what? Not a clue so far. Anyway, then we have probably what is the second best scene in I don't know, in the whole show, but definitely in these 2 episodes. And I would say that this is a scene that actually changed the way I saw Vegas. Like, there is a before and after this scene. Because before this scene, I thought, this is a guy who has his shit together, he's smooth, he's suave, don't get me wrong, I think Vegas is a snake. He's a snake, he's a rat, he's a weasel, he's the whole zoo. But, you know what? I thought, he's interesting, he's smooth. This is not a guy who's going to be doing the kind of stupid things that other characters do. Well, this is what happens. So Porsche is swimming in the swimming pool. He has a swimming pool, he's using it. And then he goes to sit, he gets out of the swimming pool, he sits in the border of it, in the edge, and Vegas appears with 2 huge glasses of wine, like the biggest glasses of wine that I've ever seen in my life. And he gave him one, and you would say, well, he's going to stand there. Mistake. He's not going to stand there, he's going to sit next to Porsche. But Porsche is sitting in a swimming pool, and Vegas is fully clothed. Did he care? No. He just sat there, got his pants fully wet. Like, the legs of his pants were in the swimming pool. I honestly think that Porsche not reacting to that is one of the best pieces of acting that I've ever seen in my life. Because if I saw that, like, if I was in a pool and somebody sat like that, I would lose my mind. I would just laugh so hard. I don't know what I would do. I would go crazy. And Porsche just takes it as normal. It's like, well, this may happen. So, I don't know. They had a conversation in the middle, but honestly, that's not the part that I was focusing on. Kinn even says this. Kinn is looking at this and probably feeling jealous, but also seeing his cousin sitting with his pants on the pool. And also he has to get up and then walk home. Well, probably not walk home, but he has to walk to the car with his pants legs. He has to sit in a car with his pant legs, and then he has to go to his room and change, because how long can you? Well, I guess it's pretty hot in Thailand, so maybe they dried pretty quickly. But still, that is, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about Vegas now. Anyway, I lost my place in the list. I went on a rant. Honestly, that moment was seared into my brain. That's all I'm going to say. So, Kinn watches this, and we don't know what he's feeling. I think at the moment, we assume that he's feeling, jealousy, but at the same time that he maybe feels like he doesn't trust Porsche. I think that's what we are supposed to feel, but we'll see later. So, at this stage, Kinn goes to Tawan and he agrees to go retrieve the information that Tawan says he has somewhere, and they go to an apartment. Tawan is an absolute creep about it. He does a whole thing, like he makes Kinn sitting down and then he put his face in his crotch. Like, I cannot blame him, but it is still creepy. So don't do that. Anyway, Porsche follows them and he is discovered. Like, literally they open the door and Porsche is there. So this is not good, because that makes everybody think that Porsche is actually the spy, because he had planted the bugs, he was following them, and he's thrown into jail. Now, he doesn't stay there for long, because Vegas comes and said, I'm going to rescue you, come on, let's go. Which should have been a red flag, but doesn't matter. Anyway, Kinn catches them in the act. Pete also, which, interesting. Kinn catch them in the act, and then he just lets Porsche go. It's like, yeah, go. Okay. So, that should have been a clue that maybe something was going on, but it doesn't matter. At some point during this, I don't remember at what point, but at some point during this, we also have Che and Kim that apparently they get together, and then they were there cuddling. It was adorable. But it didn't last long because Che got immediately kidnapped. So, not good. Kim tried to save him, but he couldn't, and Che is taken away. So we have Kim actually calling Kim to say, well, what the hell is going on? What's happening? So that was interesting because I think it's the only actual interaction that we have between Kim and Kinn so far. So, I don't know. I was kind of looking forward to them doing more interaction, but apparently no. Anyway, Vegas goes to talk to Kim and he say, I want to go to Vegas' lair and get some information to prove that Porsche isn't a spy, because I don't believe he's a spy. And Kinn says, well, no, that's dangerous, maybe we shouldn't. And Pete says, well, I know that I may get torture and capture. Well, no, not in that order. Wait. Let my brain catch up. He says, I know that I may get captured and torture and all of that, but I accept that. I'm still willing to do it. Which, foreshadowing, but okay. So he does. He goes to Vegas' lair and he, tries to get the information. On the other hand, Porsche, something happened with Vegas. To be honest, I'm not that... I was going to say, I just don't remember. I think they have a conversation, something like that. I think Porsche goes back home and he finds that Che had been taken, and then he gets a message saying where he's going to be with, again, that looks like a trap, but okay. So he goes to this abandoned building and he's looking for Che. And what he finds is Tawan, who's acting like a bitch. Surprise no one. So anyway, Porsche gets captured. Tawan kicks Che, which was, excessive. And then we find out that Tawan was working with Vegas. What a shock. I could have never imagined this from the very first moment that Tawan appeared. I mean, it's always, we only have two options with people he could have been working with. And it wasn't the Italians. It had to be, wait, he didn't have information about the Italians. He had information about the Minor family, because the Italians at this stage, they are gone. Okay, yes. I am right. He had information about the Minor family because he was working with Vegas all along. He had no intention of giving any information. The information never existed. I called it all along. I said, that guy's working with Vegas. That is what's happening. But, that was the confirmation. Anyway, we also have Pete, who manages to infiltrate Vegas' lair, which apparently also doubles as a sex dungeon. Maybe not combined, work and pleasure, because that seems a little bit messy. But after what we saw earlier with Vegas, I think he doesn't care about getting messy. Anyway, that's not even the worst of it. First of all, he keeps what is this animal? I wrote porcupine here, but it wasn't porcupine. It's a similar animal. Isn't it smaller? Are porcupines bigger and with bigger needles? Spines? Well, you know what I mean. If you have watched the show, you know the animal that I mean. He keeps it in this tiny little cage. Like, it doesn't have anything. It's just a cage. Like, that is... No. I don't accept that. It's just... First of all, I don't like keeping animals that are supposed to be in the wild in cages, but I think, like, if you absolutely insist of doing it, you at least have to build in an enclosure that, has everything for the animal to be fine, not just keep it in a cage. So that is a strike. Well, I was going to say strike one. I think this is definitely strike 5 or 6 with Vegas. Anyway, that is not all. He also has in his computer a folder that is called confidential. And you know what he has inside? Confidential information. He keeps his confidential information in a folder that's called confidential. That is like keeping porn in your computer in a folder in your desktop that is called porn. Like, what? No. What are you doing? I, I have such, I was going to say I have high regard for Vegas. I don't know if I have high regard for Vegas, but I think I thought he had a different standard than he has. And I kind of been lowering my standards when it comes to Vegas. But at least I feel like he put him the same feel that the rest of the characters in this show. Anyway, Pete gets captured. He gets the information out, but he gets captured. And who captured him but the spy we had been looking all alone, who turns out to be Ken. Surprise to no one. I was actually hoping there was going to be someone unexpected, like, I don't know, Paul. Can you imagine it was Paul? Like, out of nowhere. But no, it was Ken, the other character that had been a beach so far, so okay, it makes sense. Anyway, back to Vegas and Porsche. So it turns out that we're gonna explain this. You know, we already know that Tawan was working with Vegas, but I didn't say the reason he was working with Vegas. Apparently, Vegas seduced him and convinced him that he was in love with him. And in that way, he told him, oh, if you do this with Kinn, then we can run away together or we can be happy together. I don't know. Some shit like that. Which was a lie. Which was a big lie. So anyway, Tawan is there hoping, you know, Vegas is going to help him. It doesn't. And then what happens? I think Big arrives. I don't know. The details on this scene, they're kind of hazy. But what happens is that Kinn and Big arrive. They save the day. They, you know, I think they shoot Tawan, but I think he was wearing like a vest or something. I don't know. Now I don't know if I'm inventing details or this is what happens before. I don't know. Anyway, one of the big things that happen in this is that Big dies to save Porsche. And I'm sure he was so pissed about it. Like he says, it was a very touching moment because he tells Porsche that, you know, something like, oh, Kinn loves you, so, you know, just protect him, make him happy, whatever. And it was so heartbreaking because we know that Big had feelings for Kinn and he was saving Porsche for Kinn. But at the same time, I know that he hated Porsche. It was like, oh, I know what I'm doing this, but this makes me mad. I'm also going to say that we already have the precedent of a character coming back from the dead, or I guess not actually dying. So I don't know. Next season, Kinnporsche writers, if you want to bring Kinn Big back and explain it in the laziest of ways, I won't care. I just feel like I did a disservice to Big. I should have been more supportive before. He was a little bitch at the beginning, but I don't know. Poor Big. I'm sorry that had to happen to him. Being killed by Tawan. How humiliating. Anyway, the Big dies. Porsche survives. Che also survives. Kim is also there because he went there to also save Che. And I guess at some point he's going to have to find out that, you know, who Kim actually is. So I don't know. Maybe in these next episodes. Also, it was kind of. Look, I'm not a Tawan fan, but it was kind of heartbreaking him actually believing that Vegas was going to come and save him and take him away. And then obviously Vegas was not going to come. I could have told you that. But you know, and at some point he does realize, and then he shoots himself in the face. I guess he shoots himself in the face. They don't show it. They only show Kinn's reaction. But I'm going to trust Kinn that he actually checked that that bitch was dead, because I don't want to come back. I want Big to come back. I don't want Tawan come back for sure. Anyway, Tawan is dead. There is a big explosion, but everybody survives except Big, and I guess maybe some random, you know, bodyguards that we don't know. And that's pretty much it. Except that Pete still was captured by Vegas, and Ken was discovered. Well, I guess they already knew that he was a spy. I always want to say the small family. It's not the small family. It's the secondary family. No, the main family and the other family. You know, the other family, the one that is second to the first family. You know, the one that I'm meaning. They already knew that Ken was a spy, but apparently this was, I don't know, he was doing some things that Gunn didn't approve because Vegas told him. So Gunn killed him. He got his head, he put it in a nice box, and he took it to a meeting. And then in the meeting, he just opened the box and there was Kinn's head. I was like, oh, you have your spy, which is a great icebreaker for a meeting, by the way. Anyway, Kinn is definitely dead. I don't think he's going to be able to come back from that, but he won't be missed. I can't say he's a character that I was too attached to, so I don't care. Big, you're another story. Anyway, Pete did get captured, and now Vegas is torturing him. The torture is pretty rough. It's not great, and I have an inkling. Well, I don't have an inkling. I'm pretty sure that those two are going to end up together. So I'm very curious what is the path from being tortured to whatever is going to happen between them. And I don't know how they're going to pull that off. So I guess we'll have to see. Anything else happen? Oh yes, Porsche and Kinn have sex, as usual, and they forget that Pete was captured. They forget Pete existed. And I on the one hand, it's like, come on. Kinn did this whole thing saying that Pete is the one that he trusts the most, and, definitely he likes Pete, he's great, but then he just forgets about him. But on the other hand, yes, if I had someone like Porsche, I think I would probably forget everything, including my friends, my name. Like, fuck that, I'm busy doing this. So I don't know if I can blame Kinn a lot, but honestly, Pete is being tortured. Maybe remember him, that he exists. Anyway, that is what happened in the first 2 episodes. I've been talking for like a fucking long time, but I think we have covered everything. I think that's all. So I think that's the end of my summary. Okay, I am back. I had to interrupt the recording because my cat, who was hiding in a shelf, well, he wasn't hiding, I just didn't see him there. He just jumped on the desk that I'm in, and I got scared so bad that I knocked the microphone off and a few other things that I had on the table. So I have to essentially reset everything. Before that, I have to recover to what I can only assume was almost a heart attack. And after doing that, I just decided to have a coffee because I realized that I'm going to be probably 2 hours doing this, and I'm not sleepy now, but I can anticipate that I'm probably going to get sleepy later. So just in case I got a coffee, I also turned on the fan. So if I sound different, it's probably because the fan is gone. I just turned the air conditioner on because it was making my throat dry. What can I say? Anyway, after what feels like hours since I started recording this, let's go to episode number 11 of Kinnporsche right now.